me start off this video by saying Deion Sanders is not going to stay at Jackson State for 10 plus years. It is highly unrealistic in this day and age of college football for any coach to stay at a program for that long, unless you are an anomaly like Nick Saban. But my problem is, what I want to talk about is the overly desperate attempt to ship Deion Sanders to Auburn, Alabama to coach the Auburn Tigers. I want to talk about, number one, why it does not make sense from a racial aspect, and number two, the problems I have with the disrespect, whether it's intended or not intended, and the hypocrisy by bigger names in college football media. Let's get into it. When it comes to the racial components of Deion Sanders coaching at Auburn, Alabama, this is a school who has not had a black head coach up until days ago in Cadillac Williams. Cadillac Williams was called up to be an interim head coach of the Auburn Tigers, an interim head coach because the last guy just got fired. Auburn has been a football program since 1892. They have not had a black head coach since 1892, and not even one that they wanted from the jump, one that they brought from an assistant position. This is technically their first black head coach. That says a lot, because there have been plenty of great candidates from 1892, that I can promise you. Auburn University, the black population, the black student population, has gone down from 8.7%, which was not that big at all to begin with, from 8.7% to 3.2%, which is even worse. There are so many examples of racism that goes on at PWIs, especially in the South, that specifically for Auburn University, there's a page on Instagram called Black at Auburn that you can actually check out yourself. It's a page for black students at Auburn University who would share their experiences on that site, their racist experiences on that site. Also, even with Deion being who he is, black head coaches have a way shorter leash than white head coaches, historically. It takes time to build a program. It takes time to install your culture. It truly does. Just because he was able to turn it around at Jackson State quickly does not mean the same thing will be able to happen at Auburn. And I'm not doubting him at all, because I think when he goes to the FBS level, he'll be dominant. I truly do, just because of who he is at already and what he's shown us. But it's just not, it's not the same. It's not going to be the same thing. So you go to Auburn, who already has a racial problem, and then you come in with all this bravado and swagger, which is a great thing to us, but it might not be to the predominantly white institution, the predominantly white crowd who's going to be watching you in attendance every Saturday, overly critiquing you is more than they would a white counterpart. Because see, what makes Prime so special, apart from him being Deion Sanders, the literal GOAT, is the fact that he is very well connected to rap culture, to hip hop culture, to our culture. That's how he's able to get some of these high profile athletes to Jackson State. He provides a great experience, one that I'm so glad that I got to experience in person. Now you talk about bringing that to Auburn, one of his biggest components that works for him very well. You're talking about bringing that to Auburn, Alabama, who, number one, didn't want a black coach from 1892 up until now, and he's an interim, with a predominantly white crowd who I'm pretty sure would rather listen to Florida Georgia Line or something along the lines of that than Key Glock, Rick Ross, Fredo Bang, or any rapper leading their team, their Auburn Tigers, out the tunnel every Saturday. Because let's make one thing clear. If he's going to do that, and he should do that at the FBS level, and the results aren't coming with it quickly, now all of a sudden, they use that as a reason why he's not winning. He's a distraction. He's all for himself. He's too flashy. He loves the cameras too much. He's not really about football. Those narratives become a thing, and unfairly so. Also, when it comes to bigger names in the college football media, I have a problem with the way that they go about shipping Deion Sanders to Jackson State. I really do. Number one, College Game Day. I was at the College Game Day shooting when they were at Jackson State just last week. It was a phenomenal experience. They provided a great game day experience. With that being said, to me, it was completely disrespectful, whether it was intended or not, for them to ask this man about him taking a Power 5 job in front of his crowd, in front of his home crowd, while they are getting ready for the biggest HBCU rivalry, period. Who you yourself acknowledged. You acknowledged the history between these two schools and HBCUs. So why are you here asking him if he's going to take a Power 5 job as if he's alluded to it? When he's told you on many occasions, yes, I'd be a fool not to hear him out, which he would be, but my mind is not on that right now. You keep bringing it up. We keep forcing the issue. Last but not least, RG3, Robert Griffin III. I have a problem with the way he's been handling this as well. And this is just my opinion. You were all for HBCUs. You were all for HBCUs. You were all for, Shador, he's putting on for HBCUs. He's in my Heisman race. Coach Prime, he's doing a great thing for HBCUs. HBCU football is on the rise right now. You went from that to going to social media and saying, if I'm Auburn, I'm going to offer Coach Prime a deal that he can't refuse. Are you for HBCUs or not? Because between you and HBCU Game Day, that audacity just told me you don't believe that HBCUs deserve to have a good thing. Not for long anyway. Like, he'd just be crazy to want to stay there for another couple of years. That's all I got to say. Coach Prime is going to take a Power 5 job. But I think it'll be in the next few years. 2, 3, whatever you want to say. Whatever you want to call it. It's not, he's not going to stay for 10 plus years. I know that. But just, if the man says he's happy here right now, let him be happy here right now. We will see Coach Prime at the Power 5 level. We're going to get that. It's going to happen. There's no need to rush it. It's going to happen. Let him make something great here at the HBCU level right now. Because me personally, I think if he's able to complete his mission that he has for uplifting the HBCUs, and then he goes to the Power 5 level and dominates that, that's going to do more for his legacy than he can even imagine. Let the process play out. With that being said, you are watching the BlitzCity Podcast. I'm your host, Kobe Orr, and I'm out. Peace.